Welcome, everybody, to Flicker Effect, episode 218. We're recording this on Sunday, June 11th, 2017. I'm David Lott. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson.
What's up, everybody?
Yasha Wilson.
Hey.
And Michelle Curry.
Hi, everyone.
I'm going to try to keep you focused, Michelle. We got the Stanley Cup on in the background.
Dude, tonight's like the biggest whammy. It's like Stanley Cup, Game 6. My Penguins are playing it for the win here. And the Tonys are on. Hosted by Kevin Spacey, dude. Like, seriously? Like, what the hell is happening tonight?
Sorry, I don't have multiple TVs set up in here.
We should have multiple TVs set up in here.
And the podcast.
And the podcast. Like, dang, dude. Like, what's happening in the world? What's so cool about this Sunday? Like, Jesus. Couldn't it space it out?
Right? U.S.-Mexico is playing right now.
Right?
Yeah.
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 It's a busy Sunday in June. That's what's happening. That's what's up. Somebody had a birthday. We have, there's things happening here.
Really quick, just a reminder for anybody listening, you can find this podcast on iTunes, on Google Play Music, and the iHeartRadio app. Simply search for Flicker Effect. That's 2 words. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Flicker Effect. We also have been doing, as we mentioned in the last episode, we've been doing non-spoiler reviews, Michelle and I, over there. So if, for instance, Wonder Woman, which we'll be talking about right now, you haven't seen it yet for some reason.
What's wrong with you?
Oh, God.
If you haven't seen it yet, you would like to hear some non-spoiler thoughts before listening to this spoiler-filled review, you can go over to YouTube and check that out. But, yeah. Wonder Woman.
How about that Wonder Woman?
Unfortunately, we're a week late talking about this. We weren't able to do a podcast last weekend, as I talked about when we did that YouTube review. But here we are. Better late than never. It's time to talk Wonder Woman. And yeah, as I just mentioned, we'll be talking about spoilers for anyone listening.
Yeah. Spoilers.
So yeah, I still use the bowl to pick for who's going to go first when we do this. And Michelle, you've been the lucky. You seem to be first a lot.
Like, I feel like if we actually did the stats on this, I feel like I feel like I'm the house in Vegas at this point.
I feel like just to make it extra clear that I'm not screwing around with the bowl, like maybe we'll start doing like Instagram live or Instagram story. You can like videotape it every time I pick a name.
Oh, that'd be kind of fun,
everyone
actually.
Can see that.
That'd be fun. I kind of like that idea.
I'm not cheating. I swear I'm not.
No, I know. But like I said, I feel like I'm basically the house when it comes to the bowl of Destiny.
Yeah.
Like, you can pretty much bet on me. I'm going to win every time. For the most part. I mean, there's definitely been times when it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But if you want to... Yeah. Anyways.
So you've been pretty pumped about Wonder Woman.
Dude.
I mean, I think we all have to a degree, but I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would argue, I would say of the 4 of us, you've been the most excited for Wonder Woman.
I mean...
You've been pretty pumped up for this.
I have been. And I will say that, like, that first trailer, dude, it did things to me. I was like... What the hell? Like, I was like,
did things to you.
Like, I didn't say that because, and I said this on the review for YouTube. Like, I have no history or connection really, or not really any kind of level of knowledge of Wonder Woman other than very basic stuff. Like, I never read the comics. I never watched the TV show. Like, I really don't know very much about her. What little I know is from random episodes of like Justice League. So, it's not very much. And so Wonder Woman's never been like something that I would like, oh my God, they're making a Wonder Woman movie. Like, I was like losing my head over it. I was just kind of like, oh, cool. She's going to get her own movie. That's awesome. When's that happen? And then I saw that first trailer and I was like, holy hell, I think this is game changing. Like, it totally, I don't know. I got crazy excited after that first trailer dropped. And then like each trailer after just got me more and more and more pumped, every single one. And I was just like, oh my God. And at the same time, because it's a DC film, I have to like keep it in check. Like, there was this constant like, keep it in check. This could really you really need to be realistic about what you're walking into. Like, this really could be just not spectacular. And so I kind of kept going, okay, keep it back, reel it back. And I gotta tell you, this movie just, it does not disappoint. Like, at least not me. And from what I understand, a vast majority of the people out in the world, this is not disappointing at all. This film delivers. It just does. There's just something about it. There's just the way the story is told and the way it unravels through the film, and just there's a life to this film that I've not seen in any of the other DC films. And I say that having been a fan of Man of Steel, but I will say that I think it's better than Man of Steel. I think this brings, and I almost want to say like a levity. It just brings a brightness of feelings and emotions and storytelling to this whole DC film universe that it needed. It needed life injected into it, and this film delivers that. Patty Jenkins did a spectacular job. I mean, just, God, you go, girl. Like, she delivered big time. And it was, I don't want to say it's surprising, but it's really only her second film. And she's done a lot of TV shows, like major TV shows and episodes for, and those have all been really excellent. So it's not that it's surprising she delivered, it's just that for her second film delivering this big, that's really freaking huge, dude. And it's so good. And it just, I don't know. I think this Wonder Woman just embodies a lot of, and I think it's like some of the best qualities of women and females. And it's just because I feel like, unfortunately, and not all the time, but I just feel like women are just so portrayed in certain lights for the most part in a lot of film. And to see women be strong and independent and, you know, just intelligent of a certain level and confident, but also still have female feministic kind of ways about her and still holding on to a femininity but still being really strong is just, it's awe-inspiring to see this on film. And it captured me completely. Of course, Gal Gadot is the lead as Wonder Woman, and she is spectacular. And she's a really good actress, and she's really hard to keep your eyes off of. She's really easy on the eyes. She's a gorgeous woman, but in that beauty that she has, there's still so much personality that she brought forth with Diana, and it's awesome. It's storytelling the way it's meant to be done with these films, and I'm super happy about really almost all of it. There was only a few things that I didn't like about the film, and honestly, there's just too much that I enjoyed that it's like it's hard for me to even sit and nitpick about. But yeah, I mean, I liked the villain. I liked the way it played out. I thought Chris Pine did a really good job, actually. Which is awesome, because I feel like I've seen him in like the last two films I've seen him in, I've been kind of like, Chris, what are you doing, dude? And I watched this and I'm like, yeah, okay, acting again, yes, good, like that, keep that going, that's excellent, I like more of that. But yeah, no, it's good. I'm singing praises, of course. I'm super happy, and it's sad to me that I haven't seen this twice yet. I really need to see this twice. I really want to see this twice, and the fact that I haven't even as of yet is almost kind of sad to me. But no, I'm happy, and I'm gonna let somebody else take it over from here, because I'm just gonna keep on spouting wonders of loveliness and praise and grace, and yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, feel free to keep jumping in with your praise if you feel the need. Bob,
like I said, I still have nitpicky things, but you know.
Bobby, what'd you think of Wonder Woman?
I mean, there's not a lot to add to what Michelle said, other than, I mean, I just can echo her sentiments and say that I really enjoyed this movie a lot. I mean, I had a feeling that I was going to enjoy it. I think of the four of us, I probably was the most optimistic in terms of the outcome, while Michelle was probably the most enthusiastic to see the movie. I felt like I
I was
didn't
trying not to
doubt
disappoint
Warner Brothers.
myself.
What's that,
I
Michelle?
was trying not to disappoint myself.
Oh, okay.
Like I was like, I
Well,
don't want to get too excited because I don't want to be disappointed in myself.
I just, from everything that we had seen, and just, it's different because you got to, I think people still have to remember whether you liked Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, or even, I guess, to a certain degree, Suicide Squad or not. A lot of, well, those three movies have, at least two of those movies have the common denominator of Zack Snyder directing them. So, I mean, your mileage may vary depending on how you feel about Zack Snyder and what he's been doing. And then with Suicide Squad, I think there was a lot of studio interference. So there was that degree of things holding those movies back. But with Wonder Woman, I mean, this was Patty Jenkins, so it was a female director. And I don't recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone remembers, but I don't recall hearing a lot of different turmoil on the set in terms of with the director and studio interference kind of thing. So it just seemed like you were pretty much getting her vision of what she wanted this movie to be like, based on whatever kind of direction also the studio wanted to do, and it looks like it turned out really right. I remember telling Yasha that this is my favorite Marvel movie that DC has made, and is because it feels so much like how I feel when I come out of a Marvel movie. It's just a lot of fun and just energy after I've seen it, to where I'm ready to see the sequel already. And that's what generally I get when I come out of a Marvel movie, and that's how I felt with this. There was so much good action, the story, the humor, even I mean, down to a fault in a sense, that you got the same sort of less attention paid to the villains in the movie, sort of like with the Marvel movie. But I've always been okay with that because I'd rather see more of the hero and see their story and see them shine more so than a villain. And so I think I was very happy with the outcome of what everyone did. I mean, I could have spent really the whole movie just on Themyscira and just seeing that story being told,
Right.
because it was so fascinating seeing this island and just seeing their culture and how everything transpires as an island full of warrior women. And it's a great thing to see. And I think my perspective coming at it obviously can't be the same as a lot of women and young girls that are growing up that don't get a lot of representation on screen. But for me, I came at it from the point of view of, I know this character, I've read this character, I've seen it in comic books for years and years. And so now see it realized and done in a way I thought was respectful and really great to the character. That's where it hit me at. And it was like just awesome. And now I'm like, okay, we've got Wonder Woman. She's set. She's good to go. And Batman, I enjoy Ben Affleck's version of Batman, so he's set. So now I just need a soft reset on Superman, and I think I'll be good to go in terms of at least that Trinity, because I think he's the only one who doesn't feel true to his comic book character in a sense, and I would like to see that happen more with them, and especially once we get Justice League. And seeing Wonder Woman just made me that much more excited to see Justice League, because all the footage that we've seen so far from Justice League, I've liked and enjoyed. And I feel like that everything that they may have been able to change has been changed or will be changed with the upcoming reshoots that they have going on. So I feel like that could be a potential solid hit once it comes out, to where it will really solidify what they've been trying to do, and go forward and really have people more secure in their feelings for what DC is planning, Warner Brothers DC is planning, because right now everyone's really riding high on Wonder Woman, but they're still kind of cautiously looking forward to Justice League, so that still could tilt it and maybe knock it off, knock it off course a little bit. So I think that will still be weighing heavily into people's minds when that comes around. But I have a lot of faith that that movie is going to turn out really well. And I think that whatever goes on and whatever tends to happen with this universe, I believe now the studio recognizes that Wonder Woman is a character that they can count on and rely on and be able to focus on even a little bit more than maybe they were thinking initially. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more from her and more from Patty Jenkins and whatever else they got in store, because this movie just really, really did it for me. And I can't wait to see it a second time myself. I haven't had a chance to, but I absolutely want to see it a second time before it leaves theaters because I really enjoyed it that much.
Yeah, I think it definitely denotes a second theater viewing for sure. Like it, yeah, no, totally.
Yash, what do you think of Wonder Woman?
I mean, what's left to say? Like, it's kind of hard to tag on to what Bobby and Michelle have already said when I agree 100%. I'm glad, Bobby, that you mentioned that quote, because that quote really resonated with me when we were walking in San Francisco and you mentioned that this is the best DC movie that Marvel's ever made, because that's really
the other way around. Flip it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly how I felt. It was walking around, it's like I felt like I just exited a Marvel movie instead of a DC movie. I was excited to see this movie. I was really looking forward to seeing it after we saw her clip in Batman versus Superman and saw her fight. And I said, if she is even, a portion of what she was a badass in that movie, in this coming movie, this solo standalone film, this movie is going to be great. And she was all of that and then some. The movie was fantastic. And I've told people this. It was funny when it needed to be funny. It was tough when it needed to be tough. There was action when there needed to be action, strength when there needed to be strength, and it was soft when it needed to be soft without going over the top. The movie was just, I mean, I couldn't find too many things wrong with it. I have my own little quirks here and there, but for the most part, I mean, she was fantastic. I mean, watching it with a friend of mine, we both kind of just leaned in at the same moment when she first, I think, discovered Steve, and she was just like, she was stunning. Like, you just like, wow, like she is remarkably just beautiful, like very pretty. And it was, but that being said, it's like just the character she really personified was really, really good. Like I said, it was just a fantastic film. Like, I mean, I don't know what else I can add to it that Michelle and Bobby haven't already said. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I'm actually looking forward to trying to see it a second time in the theater. I was going to try and see it today, but time didn't allow for it. But it was all that, then some. And like you said, Bobby, I walked out and I was ready to see what they were going to do next. And it bums me out hearing all the news that they talk about with Wonder Woman now, because it's like Warner Brothers didn't expect this type of response. And now we're sitting there. It feels like they're scrambling. What should we do with Patty? Should we sign her on for another film to direct it? And it just goes back to what we've talked about and what I've said before. And it's just Warner Brothers has no idea what to do or how to treat some of their properties, because this movie was an enormous success. And obviously there was a market for it, especially the way that it was directed and the story that it told. How they're sleeping and trying to, be really lazy when it comes to, signing on to people that made it successful to begin with. It makes me sad, because it's almost like they just think, well, it's the character, of course it's going to be successful. But no, there's so much more to it. Like you said, Michelle, you look at Patty's resume, and she has some very important television show credits, but she directed Charlize Theron to an Academy Award. Monster was a fantastic film, and here she is directing a big budget, special effects, superhero movie, and she crushed it. Like, there's no question as to how well she did in transversing the comic to screen and giving everybody what they want and then some, and just wanting more. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Is I just want more. I want to see what the next part of her story is. Not Justice League. Like, I'm interested in Justice League, yes. But as a standalone film, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do next, because she does have quite a few very iconic characters or villains that she can face off against. and I want to know where they're going to go within the next story. That's all I'm looking forward to. I just can't wait. I'm really excited because I enjoyed the movie that much.
You know, what's interesting is like I feel like when I was watching this, I feel like when I first watched Thor, right, the first two Thor films, I feel like everybody was just so kind of lukewarm about the idea of a Thor film, and then they saw them and they were like, "Holy crap, these are good!" You know, and it was almost exciting for everybody. And I feel like that's how everybody went into this almost like, yeah, it's Wonder Woman. Okay, we'll see what happens. And everybody was like, "Holy crap, it's amazing!" You know, and it just kind of took everybody by surprise. And at the same time, like just the juxtaposition between those characters and kind of where they are, they're very similar. But I just feel like as film, they're like in the DC world, this was kind of like their Thor. Like it just kind of just surprised the shit out of everybody. And honestly, like I would love to see, I would love to see Patty Jenkins actually direct one of the guys' films. Quite honestly, like to take on a Batman or to take on a Superman. I would love to see her do something of those moving forward. Not even just a Wonder Woman, her directing one, but like I'd like to see what she would do with a male-centric character film. It would be interesting. That's just my thought process.
It would be cool. No, 100%. I agree with you 100%. It would be It would be cool to see what else she can do with another character, like maybe giving her Green Lantern or something to that effect.
Right.
You know, just somebody
different. Yeah. Yeah.
So much fun to watch her, see what else she can do with these characters.
Right. Yeah. Instead of constantly relying on Zack all the time. I mean, and I have nothing against Zack Snyder. I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder, you know, but it would be it's nice to have the fresh blood. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
New eyes, fresh eyes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess that leaves me. I guess I'll just repeat what now everyone has been saying is I don't know what else to add to this. I liked the film very much. It was quite good. Going into it, I was on the very skeptical end of things. You know, I remember seeing the first trailer in Hall H and having a feeling of, oh shit, this looks fucking good. But as the trailers continued, I think I don't know why, I can't explain it. For some reason, my skepticism just kind of continued to build with each trailer. I guess as the trailers kept coming out, I didn't really feel like they were making the film look any different. And it just, I don't know, maybe just the bad taste in my mouth from Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad had a big part in it. But I don't know. Right before Wonder Woman came out, I was feeling like really unsure about it, and you know. And then you kind of see how Warner Brothers, at least for around here, it seemed like they weren't really pushing it as much as I kind of expected in terms of marketing, which made me wonder, like, did they not have faith in it? Like, you know, and then you hear these stories about like how they didn't realize it was going to be such a big hit. And I'm like, did Warner Brothers like think that they didn't think it was that good? Like,
yeah,
you know,
right.
Meanwhile, they were like, man, Batman vs Superman, that was amazing. But Wonder Woman, I don't know. Like, which makes you think like, what the fuck are they doing over there? But
yeah,
I don't know. I was pretty skeptical going into it, and I was very, 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 very impressed. I don't think it's perfect. I had some issues with maybe like the middle of the film at times felt a little slow.
Yeah.
But I mean, I even hate to even kind of throw out that skepticism it wasn't that big of a deal. Overall, the movie is very, very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just be getting nitpicky. Like, oh, could it be even more perfect? Sure, it could, but they did quite a good job with this, and it's hard not to feel like, yeah, this is the best DC film yet. I mean, I am a big fan of Man of Steel, so having only seen Wonder Woman once, I find myself hesitating to say that it's better than Man of Steel because I really like that film. Now, after another viewing of Wonder Woman, that may change, but
right.
I enjoyed Man of Steel quite a bit. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. So, but yeah, it's leaps and bounds better than Batman vs Superman, and Suicide Squad doesn't even almost deserve to exist in times.
Right.
So yeah, this movie it's exactly what Warner Brothers needed and DC needed. Thank God it's this good. Of course, I'm still I'm excited but cautious about Justice League, but after seeing this and how good she is in this, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, it makes me more excited about Justice League and her in it. I think I mentioned on the YouTube video that, I actually now kind of want to go back and even just watch Batman vs Superman again, just to see her in that. And yeah, this was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
You feel like maybe David that it almost reinforced, like with all the talk that they weren't expecting it to be this good, that they kind of almost started to feel like they may have started to give up on their own properties and like thinking like we're not doing as well as we thought this would be. Like basically, it's clear that they're trying to do the whole Marvel thing, even if they say that they're not trying to. But do you think with them, all this talk about, oh, well, we didn't expect it to be this good, and them kind of scrambling a little bit here and there, they're thinking like, oh, wow, maybe we were on the right track. Maybe this is the right thing to do, the right direction that we wanted to go in. Do you think that might play into effect a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. It could be that just in general, they're like, oh, we don't seem to know what we're doing. So, all of this, we're like, maybe this isn't going to play out like we had all hoped. But now that they have a hit on their hands, and obviously even in its second weekend now, as we're recording this a week after it first got released, I mean, it even did well in its second weekend. It didn't drop all that much.
No.
No, really.
They definitely have a hit, and hopefully they don't screw it up. And, kind of what you were just saying about Yasha saying about seeing like a trilogy of these films, I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, like, I think we're so focused on this world, this DC extended universe that they're building and the Justice League films. And it almost feels like in the way that Warner Brothers and DC is doing this, that the solo films are much more just kind of side pieces to the, we're just jumping into Justice League as quickly as possible. Right. So it's quick to just kind of dismiss in a way some of these solo movies. But yeah, the more I think about it, now that you just said it, Yasha, I'm very excited about future solo Wonder Woman films, and it would be great to basically get a Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy level trilogy out of this character. And, I've said it before very recently, I'm skeptical about the same director jumping in again. But if Patty Jenkins really does have a good vision for what she wants to do with, if she's going to make one more and even two more films, then, I'm totally behind it.
Right.
Christopher Nolan did it with the trilogy, but yeah, that would be awesome.
I mean, I know they don't have anything set in stone at all yet or anything concrete, but from what I'm hearing from interviews from Patty Jenkins, what she has envisioned moving forward, if they were to sign her, if they were to keep this going, it sounds good. She's actually looking to leap forward into present time a little bit, and it's intriguing to me. And she you could tell she's thought about this. Like, this isn't just I'm doing this movie and I'm out. Like, she's invested. Like,
right.
She's definitely thought about how this will all progress moving forward with this character. And I almost hesitate to really even say this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. When it comes to the studio, it almost feels like they were like, oh, we're going to do Wonder Woman just because we're going to appease them, and it's part of the whole, Justice League thing. So yeah, we'll give her a movie too, and they're like, it'll be a risk, but at this point, what do we have to lose? And I think it shocked the hell out of all of them to see such a female-driven character, and just the whole production as a whole just drive this and reinvigorate the life back into this entire DC section. And I think it shocked them because, I just don't think they thought that was going to happen. I think they just were relying on, the two main anchors, being the male characters of Batman and Superman. They thought that was just going to be enough. And they're like, oh, well, if they can't pull it off, well, we'll do Wonder Woman anyways, and we'll just see what happens. And I think that that's why they're so surprised by this. I just don't think they envisioned the female character that isn't one of the top characters you think of in the DC comics. I mean, I think it just surprised even them, just because they just were not. I just really don't think they thought that it was going to happen outside of that. But I know they're happy. Obviously, they're making a crap load of money.
Not on that level. I just don't think that they were expecting the level that it's happened.
Right. I just don't think that this was the exact outcome they were thinking. I mean, I thought they were like, oh, well, it'll do its thing. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Moving on, But to see it do as well as it is, I think is shocking to them even. And now they're like, oh, crap. We need to start rethinking things a little bit.
But it still makes you wonder, obviously they'd seen this movie before it got released. They made it.
Right.
So you would like to think that they knew that they had a great product and that word of mouth was going to work for this. I mean, how do you not make that movie and go, wow, look, this is solid. We need to push the fuck out of this because this is going to be great. How in the world does that happen?
I'm going to dig myself into a trench here. I think a lot of it is just old school male thinking in Hollywood, and I hate to be that way, but honest to God, I think they went, still a female movie, it's not going to do that great. I still think it's old fashioned Hollywood thinking. I think it's still,
I'll take it.
And I'm not trying to be all feminist on my soapbox. I'm just saying, I think it's just old school thinking of, yeah, I mean, this is solid, but is this gonna do it? I don't know. We'll see. Cross our fingers. Hope we don't let. I just don't think they really thought it would happen.
I'll take it with what you're saying. Michelle. But I'll take it even just because you're like, oh, I'm not trying to get on feminist soapbox or whatever. But I was take it to the sense of even just the character driven, just the character that it is.
Yeah.
It's they probably made it and they were just like, well, it's Wonder Woman.
Right.
It's just, she's kind of like a lesser known character who really cares about Wonder Woman, but we need this to get it going and, get this whole Justice League going. It's Wonder Woman. Who's really going to care about Wonder Woman?
I know what you're saying. You're saying is that, as far as DC characters go, what's the first DC character you think of? It's usually Batman or Superman.
It is.
Wonder Woman is not usually
she's top 3. I mean,
top 3, yes, but she's always the third of the 3. She's never in the top 2. Do you know what I'm saying?
The 3 is pretty high up to be.
It is, but it's still, she's always going to be 3. It's always going to be Superman and Batman. Always are the first ones you're going to think of.
Sure, but I mean, I want to just be cautious. I'm afraid, and correct me if I'm wrong, it almost sounds like you guys are saying she's and I'll go over to the Marvel side. She's Captain Marvel level character who, in Marvel, to me anyway, Captain Marvel is much lesser known.
Oh yeah,
Wonder Woman is she is the trinity of DC characters. She is right there. I mean, she's big.
She is. I fully agree. I'm just saying. I know what Josh is saying is that it's still she's just not taken as seriously as Batman or Superman. Period. Okay. That's just how it is, and unfortunately, that's just how it is. I'm not saying I accept that that's how it is because I don't think that's how it should be, and I think this movie's proving that correct. Thank God, hallelujah. But that's just how it is, and I think men in suits with money sat in a theater room and they went, "Well, we'll see how it goes. It seems okay, but we said that about the other one, so we'll see what happens." They went, "We'll see what happens. Still a chick movie, And then they went, "Holy shit, the chick movie's doing good." Yeah, they were shocked as hell when this did well.
You're going to say,
Yasha, go ahead. I agree with you. I kind of think the same thing. But I don't know. I'm with you on that, Michelle. I kind of agree with you on that. I think that the fact that they keep releasing statements saying how surprised and pleased they are doesn't help the fact that doesn't help their argument where they had this complete faith in their product. They're just we're completely surprised and taken back by how well Wonder Woman is doing. Well, what did you think it was going to do, dude? I feel like everybody's goal when they release a movie is hey, we want to have $100 million, especially a movie this caliber. We want to have $100 million weekend, and we don't want it to drop off for at least 2 weeks. That's the goal, especially in summer. And the fact that they keep releasing these statements wow, we're so happy and surprised that the success of Wonder Woman, and we're so pleasantly excited to see what what's coming next, and that they're scrambling to figure out what the next project is or how they're going to move forward with this character and this property. It's they had no idea. It's almost like they just thought, okay, well, we'll make this one and then that's it. This will link into Justice League and we'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, I have to say, I had to stop reading the articles because I'm getting annoyed with reading these articles and hearing that over and over. But anyways, speaking of trenches, let me just say, one of my absolute favorite moments in the movie, and I have to share this, honest to God, the moment where she comes up the ladder out of the trench and starts charging at the Germans, dude. I almost
yeah.
stood up and
Same.
applauded. Like, I was like trying to contain my losing my shit in my chair. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, this is what I came to see. I came to see her just completely blow everybody's minds away. Like, it was such an awesome scene watching that get played out, and to see, oh God, I can't even describe my emotions towards the excitement that I had watching that. Like, watching her charge at the Germans like that and just deflect bullets and just go after them. Yeah. Oh God, it was so good. It was so good.
I literally just when I saw that too, I was literally just like, bad ass. Like, I was just like, go
Right?
get it. Go get some. You know, I was like, that's literally what I thought. Like, when I saw it, I was just like, so maybe I was like, had a little bit of a downplay when it came to the standing up and applauding, but I almost wanted to applaud at the end of the movie. And I just thought, man, this movie and just watching her in that trench scene was like, bad ass. Come get some. Like, she was ready, and it just didn't disappoint.
So, question: let's say we get a trilogy of Wonder Woman films. What would you guys prefer if you had the choice? Would you prefer, like, say, the next film and then, you know, subsequently a third movie basically jump to present day? Or would you like to see, like, more of kind of the time in between? And I guess that would be somewhat reminiscent of what, like, X-Men has been doing, with each movie seems to take place in a different decade. But, you know, like, would you like to see, like, a 60s Wonder Woman movie, an 80s Wonder Woman movie? Michelle,
I don't know. Like, I yes and no. And the thing is, and the reason why I'm having a hard time just being like, yeah, that'd be great, it's only because I've read what Patty has already said about this. Is she feels like in having this story start with her in present day reflecting upon this time, she wants to move forward with it more as current time, just with like smaller flashbacks, but not actually having the story unfold more, say, in that time. She really, I think, wants to see it happening now with her, at least in the second one. I don't know about the third one. That could be more of a leap back again. But it sounds like she really wants the second one to really, I don't know. So I'm saying is I'm having a hard time saying, yeah, I totally would love to see Wonder Woman just after, you know, post World War II, maybe. Like, that would be kind of cool, right? But at the same time, like, I'm having a hard time seeing that only because I've already read what Patty was saying.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess still, like, if you, even though, say, she said that, I mean, it doesn't sound like they really have anything concretely planned.
No, not at all.
I could very much see,
No,
like, as
yeah.
you know, development starts and begins, that, oh, actually, you know what? It'd be great to do something set in '69, or, you know,
Right. Like her go like kick some ass in Vietnam or something, you know, like that'd be sweet, right?
right.
And I say that knowing how
just,
Vietnam turned out. I'm just simply saying, like, you know, like send her to South America where she could like go up against some like warlords or something, and like, let's do that. That'd be awesome.
Because I'll say for myself, I'm kind of torn on that. I don't know. Like, I guess in a way, yeah, I think I hadn't even heard some of the quotes. It sounds like you've read or heard, Michelle, but I guess I just kind of assumed it's now going to just jump to present day, kind of somewhat like a Captain America.
I'll send you the
film
article.
did.
It's a good one.
So that was just an assumption of mine. So now I'm just kind of thinking about it. Like, well, I guess we don't have to. I mean, you know, we could do stuff in different eras now.
No, totally.
I mean, we've got a lot of time between, you know, what the movie we just saw
100
and
years.
how we saw her pop in BVS. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Just
100.
thought-
There's basically 100 years, so there's definitely time for sure.
Yeah, what's time? You were going to say something, Yasha, when I first asked, or Bobby?
Go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, I can see that. I mean, there is quite a bit of time between, you know, when she first comes to power, you know, after the first war. So I mean, she clearly had stories probably around then. I can see it going either way. I would love to see her jump into something modern and do something modern day, because I know that's going to what we're going to face when it comes to Justice League. So maybe they can introduce one of her villains in Justice League and kind of have a branch off story from there. But I don't want to take anything away from some of the great characters that she fights against. So I can see it going either way. I'm just excited to see what they do with the next film. And I've read some of the articles as well, Michelle, that you're referring to, I'm sure, where Patty Jenkins has talked about that. So I'm open to anything. I just hope that this next story is just as good, if not better, than the first.
Bobby, you were going to say?
Yeah, I think I would want to see a story where it takes place around World War II, but then within my concept of the story, um, she gets word somehow that something is going on back on Themyscira, and
Yeah.
so she has to leave the world of man and go back to Themyscira. And one of the enemies that is in her comic book lore is Hades, who's like the Olympian god of the underworld. And then them just take place on Themyscira for the whole movie, and it would explain why she wasn't around for like a World War II or whatever. And then like by the third movie, I would probably want to see her in the present day.
Gotcha. I was going to say real quick, I know too, I talked about this on the other review, but the music, I've been kind of unsure about the theme for for Wonder Woman in the past. Mainly,
'cause
I
of-
say in the
Yeah,
past
yeah.
in Batman vs. Superman.
Right.
The way her theme fit in Batman vs. Superman, it was just, I don't know, it was so jarring. And like, I get it. I get that you're going to have a different theme for each character, but it just, I don't know, the way they used it just not work for me whatsoever. I was not a fan. But in this film, now getting that story about how she came to be and how it's used in the context of this movie, I'm totally cool with it now. I'm not saying I'm happy with how they used it in Batman vs Superman. Still, I'll still go and watch that movie, and whenever we see a shot of her of like looking at the photo and suddenly that theme, and I'm like, oh god. Like, where did this come from? But I don't dislike the theme on its own. It works. It makes sense. It makes sense considering her now backstory that we have now seen in this universe. I dig it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a warrior tribal theme. Like it's very like, I don't want to say like animalistic, but there's almost like a jungle tribal warrior thing happening with it, and that's what it, her community is. That's what Themyscira is. It's they're warriors. This is the sounds of war almost. You know what I mean? Like they're going in a battle theme song. Like that's just how it is, and there's a raw power to it, an energy to it that is just, it fits with her and her Amazonian culture and heritage, and I really liked it. Like I thought it was a little weird in Batman versus Superman, but yeah, having it in this, it fits so perfectly, and it makes it so much more powerful when she's coming up from the trenches and charging the Germans, and then like, yes, like this is what this whole moment is about, is just hearing that music and seeing her visually go at them and deflect bullets. And yeah, no, it's empowering and it's invigorating, and it breathes a life onto itself that helps enhance the film to a level that just, it makes it all fit into one perfect little box.
Well, I hate to cut a Wonder Woman conversation short. We could probably easily fill the rest of the show with Wonder Woman, and if you guys have anything else, please jump in. But with the 15 minutes we have left, there was another movie that came out this weekend that unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see, and that is The Mummy. Universal's, I guess, first film in an attempted franchise of their own, as they're
Reboot
calling
franchise.
the Dark Universe. And, The Mummy's the first of that. This film stars Tom Cruise. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I believe you, Bobby, and Yasha both saw this. And if so, I'm really curious to know what you thought. Who wants to go first? Bobby? Yasha? Bobby?
I'll let Yasha go.
I was gonna go ahead and let you go, man. I'm more
Yasha's
than happy
gonna
to
be
take
a
the backseat to you,
team
Bobby.
player, man.
No, but see what happens is you'll say, "Well, there's not much I can add." So I'm letting you go, so you won't have to worry about that.
Oh. All right, I'll do it. I'll do this. That's a lot of dead air. Hold on a second. I'm trying to collect my thoughts.
Came out of nowhere.
Well, while you're doing
wow.
that, we can sum up real quick. So this film is starring Tom Cruise and the chick's name that I can never remember that's in Kingsman, and she's in the new movie coming out, Atomic Blonde. She plays the mummy. Russell Crowe's in this film. But all this ties into the
Oh,
entire
Sophia
like
Butella?
monster universe, but they're trying to revamp it as this dark universe. So in essence, there could be more films featuring things like the Wolfman and Dracula and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the Invisible Man. Who else am I thinking of? The Thing.
Well,
But that's all
did you say The Bride of
speculation.
Frankenstein?
No,
I didn't, but that's
You nailed it. You nailed it on. Sorry, you nailed it on the head. Let me just go out and say it was honestly, at best, it was just okay. Like, and I wanted to like this movie
Right?
because I like Tom Cruise. I like Russell Crowe. In certain things that he does, I really enjoyed Jake Johnson's work. He has a movie on Netflix that I thoroughly enjoyed. I like Sophia Butella, who was in The Kingsman. I wanted to really like this movie. Like, I wanted to walk out of there and to hear what they were doing with it. Just all this, that it's an extension of this, monster verse. And they even had a monster trailer, Universal Dark, that was coming out when they opened the scene to show like, hey, this is the beginning of something really, really cool. I don't know if it is, because the movie wasn't that great. And it didn't perform very well in the theater. So it's kind of like, what next? Like, you guys got crushed by a movie that had been out already for a full week. Now, granted, the movie was an amazing movie, but that being said, it's like you wanted to have your own weekend, and you did, and you still got crushed. The movie just wasn't that great. There was humor when it didn't need to be humor. They felt like they didn't know what they wanted to do or what direction they wanted to be. Was it going to be funny? Was it going to be scary? Was it going to be suspenseful? Was it going to be super full of action? I just feel like this missed on all realms of, what it was trying to become and what direction it was going to be. Jake Johnson is a fun person to watch when he acts. He was completely out of context in this film. He didn't need to be there at all. Like, it was weird having him be a part of this film. I loved the idea of Russell Crowe being Dr. Henry Jekyll and then actually getting to see some of that in the movie. That was a lot of fun. The Mummy was, kind of creepy and scary, and it was kind of interesting to that effect as well. I mean, I know we're not doing spoilers, but I don't think Annabelle Wallace was a good fit for the character or the love interest for Tom Cruise either. I don't think, and I mean, this is really mean to say, but I just don't think that she was that great of a talent to be in this film. She didn't fit, in my opinion. Like, she was it felt like she was reading lines with Tom Cruise, and I just couldn't buy into who she was or what she was trying to do. It just didn't really work. And I've seen her in other stuff that she's done that I think she's really, really, really good in. She was in Peaky Blinders, and I remember that. And I used to watch that show, and she was really good in that one as well. But it just didn't feel like she fit into this role. Like, I mean, these are very seasoned actors. I don't think that she had the chops to really play the character that they were supposed to be playing. And I mean, that being said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give this movie a 5, maybe a 4. Like, I'll go 4.5. But
wow.
It wasn't what it was supposed to be, in my opinion, and it didn't live up to what I was hoping it was going to be. And I walked out kind of bummed because I had high hopes for this, because I love classic Hollywood, if you will. Some of the throwbacks and the what they did during the filming that you can kind of catch if you're there, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to mention it, but there are throwbacks to some of their old monster movies and stuff, and you can get really excited about that sort of thing. And I love the classic horror monster movies, and even if I haven't seen any of them, seen some of them, like I don't think I remember really seeing The Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I have an appreciation for that, what it was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Or the original Frankenstein and the Dracula. I've seen those, but for somebody who is an appreciation of film, like, you just kind of have to have an appreciation for what those were at the time when Universal was doing those and pumping those out. I was pretty disappointed when I walked out, because like I said, I enjoy Tom Cruise's work, even though he may be a little off at times. I don't hold that against him, and I like to support him. So doesn't change the fact that I was kind of bummed when I walked out of this movie. I was like, well, that was it. And that was kind of lackluster. And I don't know how they're going to try and continue this franchise, if they're just going to bank off of the overseas sales, because they got destroyed the first weekend, and it's not going to get any better next week.
Well, internationally definitely did pretty well, so it does have that going for it. And I believe my understanding is that the next film lined up is Bride of Frankenstein. That'll be in February of 2019. So Bill Condon will be directing that, who just directed Beauty and the Beast. Bobby, so what'd you think?
Well, yeah, I guess I can say that Yasha hit on a lot of points that I would agree with in terms of, especially in terms of the characters. I wasn't impressed with Jake Johnson's role in this. I really thought his humor and aspects of his character just didn't fit within the movie. Annabelle Wallace, I don't know. She was fine, I guess, but I don't really think they gave her character enough to do. I mean, I think it fits the mold of a movie that would have been a summer blockbuster maybe 10 years ago. It's just, it doesn't do a lot of good service to the female character in the sense that she's smart and she's a part of this whole system in terms of being capable in her field. But beyond that, she's kind of a damsel in distress kind of type character, and it's like, well, can't we move past that at this point? Like, why can't she just be a good, capable fighter who can save herself from aspects of things as opposed to having to be saved? And it just falls into a lot of regular cliches that you see. I would say, having said all that, it's still okay. I mean, if you want to go see a summer blockbuster movie, it's worth seeing in the theater. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a horrible movie or a terrible movie. It's just an uninspired movie. There's nothing particularly special or great about it. I would say the most, I guess, redeeming quality of the movie is that it does sort of start off this monster universe that they want to do, and makes it you more intrigued as to what you might see from it, because they've sort of said that they don't expect and won't try to make every single movie that's going to be within this universe a big blockbuster style movie in the sense of like an action movie like this Mummy was. So to know that they're trying to go for different tones that maybe suit the character more appropriately makes it an interesting idea to buy into, to see what else they're going to do, especially when they have these big name actors sign on to this. Because I really want to see what Javier Bardem is like as Frankenstein's monster, and see what Johnny Depp kind of does with the Invisible Man, and what kind of sort of take they go with in terms of the tone of it. So I'm hopeful in the sense that maybe we don't need another Mummy movie, but I would really still want to see more of these other monsters within this universe to see how they do it. And I would say maybe the box office of what the Mummy did doesn't necessarily hinder them into doing these other movies, but maybe it hinders them into doing a Mummy 2, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll still get to see more of this universe, and maybe they'll learn from the mistakes that they made in this one, or at least what people have responded back to what they said about this movie, and we'll make some adjustments, and we'll see more of these movies down the line. But ultimately, it's fine. It's nothing to go rush out and see. But if you have some time and you've seen everything else, just give it a try. I mean, you'll come away at least entertained to a certain degree. I mean, it's not gonna be something you're gonna be talking about months later, but it's fine for the moment in time that we're in.
I mean, I'll be honest, like, I was kind of rooting for this because I'm a big fan of the original Universal monsters, and I thought a reboot would be really cool and refreshed. And it's hard because I hear the reviews coming out of this and they are not good, like, at all. I mean, I've literally seen a review that was like, this is the worst Tom Cruise movie he's ever done ever. And I'm like, well, that says a lot. That's pretty bad. And so for me, it's kind of crushing. And then to hear that it's like they couldn't pick a direction is frustrating, because for them to be calling this the this reboot of this kind of genre for Universal and their monsters, and then to be calling it Dark Universe, I feel like that should be the vision moving forward. And yet I understand why it's hard for them to nail down exactly what they want to do with it, because in a way you want to pay homage to the original ones. And the original ones, even for their time, were slightly campy, and they knew that, but that was kind of what they wanted to do. And so I could see them wanting to do almost a slight camp comedy to it in a way and pay an homage in that way. But I feel like if they wanted to make this a true monster film or / horror film in a way, they should have stuck to that. And it's kind of heartbreaking to kind of hear that their vision isn't really thoughtful in a way, and it's kind of going in different directions. It's frustrating, and knowing that this coming out of the blocks is just so not good, it makes me question the next ones. And I'm hopeful that, you know, Bride of Frankenstein does well, but at the same time, like, it's just, I feel like they keep trying to figure out what they want to do with these. They want to do these monster movies, and they're trying to get this to refresh and restart, but they keep stumbling out of the gate, and they keep trying every couple of years to restart these, and it's frustrating because it gets me hopeful, but yeah, ultimately it's they're lackluster, and it's sad because, you know, for me, like, I used to love watching the original black and white Universal movies. I love watching Boris Karloff. I love seeing, you know, Dracula and just all of them, everything, you know, and I don't know. It would be nice to see this come to a new life, but yeah, it's just, for me, it's kind of heartbreaking to hear what I'm hearing thus far from The Mummy, and it makes me wonder, like, if you guys cannot get this right coming out the next one, then just stop. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, you're gonna have to call a spade and move on, because you're not gonna capture the magic you had from the 40s and 50s. Like, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, people aren't buying it. Like, they're just not,
right.
And that's kind of like, you know, I felt that when I walked out. I was just, you know, like I said, it was just okay.
Right.
And I feel like you can kind of see, and I know what you mean, where it's like, you know, they were kind of campy, and there were some moments where you know, it really stuck, that it could have been campy, but then there's moments when it was just like, it didn't work. Like I said,
right.
You know, and like you said, Bobby, you know, Jake Johnson just didn't fit in this role. Like, he didn't fit into this movie at all. Like, his character should not have been what he was.
Right. They were trying to interject some humor, and it just fell flat. And I get the whole damsel in distress thing, but, you know, and again, that's kind of a toss back to the originals, and I understand that, because, man, the originals, God, the females were stupid. And it's that whole, like, why are you running up the stairs where the guy's chasing you in your house? You should be running out the front door. And I get that. Like, that's how it's portrayed, but, you know, it's like what Bobby's saying. At the same time, like, if you're revamping it in today's time, the damsel does not need to be in distress. Period. Yeah. She can be badass.
Right.
Yeah. I would say the one thing that I think the lesson that should be learned from any other studios or any other producers out there is, between this with Universal and the Power Rangers and DC, stop announcing shared universes before you put out your first movie. I mean, let's see how that does first. And then we might be able to, you can reveal plans that you might have in the works behind closed doors. Because every time these other companies have tried to set us up for something that they want to do all shared, it's fallen pretty flat. And so it's like, I think people kind of gave Marvel the pass because they were the ones who kind of had that idea in the sense of building this shared universe first, and it made sense. They're all characters that coexist in their comic book universe. Right. So anytime you keep trying to force it, like, I don't know, maybe this next one I guess we will be the Transformers shared universe with the Bumblebee movie coming out and all that stuff. It's like, well, maybe if you just at least give us a good movie first and build upon that, then we can sort of accept the groundwork that's being laid. But to just sort of tell us that that's what you're going to do ahead of time before you even put out your first movie is pretty ballsy. And you don't necessarily have that cachet to be able to say you can do this and expect people to sort of jump on board.
I agree. I got nothing to add to that. And yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I think next weekend we're going to be reviewing All Eyes on Me. So look out for that for our review next weekend. And as always, we'd love to hear back from everyone listening. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can find us on our various social media accounts. We have links to all of those on our website. Just look over on the right-hand side. I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
Nah, Michelle Curry.
Thanks for listening.